If you have a chair with no wheels and no arms, that would be ideal. So yoga. I came to yoga in 2005, and I did the simply naive thing of just walking into a yoga class at my gym and thinking, oh, I'm just going to do yoga. Well, blind people don't just walk into a yoga class and think they're just going to do yoga, because most of what goes on there, uh, people usually know what they're talking about. So yoga is a series of poses and breath work. And the poses are all defined a lot by animal names, but yeah, other things too, like Sphinx and uh, lotus and locust, and so flowers and bugs, and there's a dead bug and or a happy baby. There's a downward facing dog and cobra and crocodile, and then there's a series of them called warriors. So when you walk into a yoga class and all they do is say, push back into downward facing dog, if you're blind and you don't know what a down dog is, you're not getting very far. So that first yoga class, I was totally lost. But I liked it, even though I had no idea what I was doing. And the instructor at the time convinced the gym to give me 3 hours of private lessons so I could learn a little bit. And that was it. I was hooked, and carried on from there. That instructor later was my teacher who taught me how to be a teacher. So 10 years later, I took the teacher training program, which is a 200-hour certification. And she was one of the people that trained that. Yoga, what is yoga? The word yoga means to unite or to yoke. So to join things together, if you imagine like a brace that you would use to join together two animals. So yoga is designed to join all of your parts together, your mind, your body, your spirit, to find balance and harmony and union together. Yoga is not something that somebody just sat down one day and wrote up and decided that that's going to be yoga. Yoga has evolved since, well, for the last 5,000 years. 5,000 years ago, in the area that we now know as India, is where it was developed. And it was primarily men at that point, because men were the dominant gender in society. And men used yoga poses and yoga breathing techniques to calm the monkey mind, to take themselves into a state of deep meditation. So there's breathing and the pretzel poses, and there's a sequence that you follow, where you start out slow, move faster, then slow down, then come into meditation. That basic sequence is still followed today in what we call as yoga here and now today. Every yoga class will end with a period of quiet contemplation. It's a pose. It's called Savasana. And Savasana means corpse pose or final resting pose. And so the traditional Savasana has you laying on your back on a mat, arms down by your sides, palms up. The significance of the palms up is to receive energy. And then your hands are usually a couple of inches away from your hips, so they're not touching your body. Then our legs are usually straight out, kind of to a V shape, a small V shape. Eyes are closed, and your tongue rests on the roof of your mouth, and that helps to soften the jaw and soften the face. And that's actually you can be doing yoga just by doing Shavasana. I have somebody that I trained with who has a son who is nonverbal autistic, and he's in his 20s, and he comes to yoga classes, and that's all he does for an hour. So everything that happens in a yoga class per se is merely suggestion. Everything that the instructor says is suggestion. And this young man, he takes it literally. That's not the what he wants to do. He needs to be in Shavasana, and he gets a lot out of it. So he just lays there and lays in Shavasana for an hour, and he's done his yoga. Yoga actually came to North America. It came in the late 1800s. It was rejected a bit. It came again in the 20s. Then in the 50s, it was kind of a fad with movie stars. But there was a big fear that yoga was an Eastern tradition that was in direct conflict with all of our Western traditions, and in particularly Christianity. And some thought it was akin to a cult, and it's the furthest thing from a cult, if you ask me. It is largely based on the Hindu religion with some overlay of Buddhism, but in the grand scheme of things, they're all the same. They all have the same stories. Every religion has a virgin birth. I'm telling you, it's everywhere. It's all a little bit different, but it's there. And the bottom line is all about living a principled life, being kind to each other, and treating each other with respect and dignity as you would want to be treated. The questions. Let me stop. Any questions? Okay, I'm going to keep going, but interrupt me or stop. Yoga is more than just the poses and the pretzel-y stuff. That's just a small portion of it. Yoga is actually a whole lifestyle and way of living, and including principles for living. Ahimsa, which is Sanskrit, and it means do no harm. So you probably heard that a lot of yogis are vegans, not just vegetarians, but vegans, because the philosophy is to do no harm to any other living being. But depending on your position in life, maybe choosing to be a vegetarian isn't going to happen, or a vegan, but there are other ways to do no harm. So you can still live a principled yogic lifestyle and do no harm in your own way. Yoga also involves serving your community. It involves there's 8 limbs of yoga, and I didn't intend to actually go through them all because that would be a whole PhD thesis. But you get the gist. It's a principled life, and it includes breath work and movement. The breath work is the foundation of a yoga practice when you're actually doing the poses. So if you start holding your breath while you're doing the poses, you're not doing yoga anymore, you're doing calisthenics. And if you don't do the breath work, you're not getting as much out of the whole process as you would otherwise. In yoga, you breathe in through the nose and out through the nose unless otherwise directed. There are other breathing methods. And I know you think, what, I breathe? I know how to breathe. Well, no, there are ways you can breathe. There's alternate nostril breathing, where you hold one nostril closed and breathe through the other. You can control your diaphragm and inhale and exhale differently. So there are a lot of different ways. What we're going to do here today is called conscious breathing. So you breathe in through the nose, out through the nose. And in yoga, you pay attention. You will expand your belly and expand your chest as you inhale. As you exhale, you empty all that breath out of the chest and out of the belly. And as you do so, your belly button will draw towards your spine, you're engaging your core, and you empty all the way out. The breath is cleansing, and the breath is our life force. And there are many different kinds of yoga movement practices, but the main principle of hatha yoga in particular, or a vinyasa flow, you may have heard of that too. Both of those, the main principle is one breath, one movement. So you move from standing to touching your toes to halfway coming up. And each time you move, there's an inhale or an exhale, and the instructor usually cues all of that. Okay, and there are plenty of other kinds of yoga. You've probably heard of hot yoga or Bikram. That's a Western philosophy of yoga, and it involves doing a practice in a room that's 104 degrees with a 30% humidity. Usually you're a puddle of mush by the end of it. And I think they're 75 or 90 minutes long. And it's the same 26 sequences every time. You don't need an instructor to do it. I've never done hot yoga. I've only done really warm yoga. And so done 94 degrees and 30% humidity. And that's plenty hot enough for me. But you could do a gentle stretch yoga. You can do something called yin yoga, where you hold the pose for usually about 5 minutes. And the longer you hold it, the more the pose changes. All of these poses, yes, they are stretch, there's strength, there's balance, but there's also an internal change that takes place. There's an emotional change. And somebody brought this up this morning. I didn't mention it yesterday, but we carry a lot of stress in different places in our bodies. Typically, we carry a lot of stress in our hips. And as you release the tension in those joints and open up with more movement, it's not uncommon for people to go through a range of emotions as they're going through a yoga practice. It's not uncommon for somebody at the end in the final Savasana to find that they have tears. It happens. On a physical level, in between all of our joints is a fluid called synomial fluid. And synomial fluid, as we age, and I mean pretty much from the time we're 20 at the oldest, the synomial fluid starts to get thicker and thicker. So by the time you're 85, your synomial fluid is looking like sludge. And that's why it just gets harder to get out of bed in the morning, harder to reach down and tie your shoes. So if you keep moving your joints, you keep the lubrication up. And so that synomial fluid allows the joints to move more freely. And it doesn't hurt to get out of bed. It's not so hard to tie your shoes. The other thing is that as you move to keep the joints moving, then you stretch to keep those muscles longer. When you sit at a chair, you have muscles that go, for example, through the tops of your thighs, and then they connect up into your hips. You sit in a chair and you've folded those muscles up, so they're getting shorter. And the longer you sit in the chair, the shorter they get. So you need to stretch those muscles up and open them up. And once you open them up and stretch them again, you're inclined to be able to move them again better. But if you never stretch them, they just keep getting shorter and shorter, and then you're in trouble. So physical benefits: stretch, strength, because you're doing isometric things, balance, both internally, but also externally. We, as blind people, all know about balance being an issue. We say it's an issue. I don't believe it's any different than for other people. If I go to a yoga class out in that other world, that other planet with all those sighted people, and we come to a balancing pose, and it's suggested to lift one leg off the ground. And then the instructor will usually say, if you want more challenge, close your eyes. And all these sighted people, as soon as they close their eyes, they fall over right away. So they're not any better at balance than we are. They're just cheating. Because if you can look directly at something in front of you that isn't moving, it's a lot easier to balance than if you've got your eyes closed. So I think we are actually better at balance. We just don't know it, and they don't either. I'm pausing. I think we should probably do some yoga before I keep talking too much and we have no time to do any. So let's do some yoga. So let's come onto a chair. And you're going to sit on the chair with your back away from the back of the chair. So maybe you're sitting halfway forward on the chair. As you're getting comfortable, I started doing chair yoga after I'd been certified for the other regular yoga, because I wanted to make yoga accessible to everybody, because not everybody's about to stand on their head, and not everybody can get up and down, but everybody can sit in a chair. So there you go. All right, so we're sitting comfortably in our chair. Feet go directly underneath your knees and your feet are flat on the floor. Sit up tall so that the crown of your head lines up with your tailbone, crown and tail. So you've got a straight spine, hands on your lap. And it can be palms down, shoulders down out of your ears. Close your eyes, whether they work or not, just close them. And think about your chin being parallel with the earth. And we're going to come into some conscious breathing to start it all out. So inhale through your nose for 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause. And exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pausing again. Now this time inhaling for the same 4, and as you do so, you keep inhaling. I'm just going to keep talking. Notice your belly and your chest expand. And when you get to the top, pause in the stillness. And then as you exhale, notice that your chest empties and bring your belly button back towards your spine as you empty out all the way down to the bottom. Inhale again for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. And one more time on your own. And come back to neutral. I invite you to keep your eyes closed for the whole practice. So from here, lower your chin to your chest, stretching out the back of your neck. Just let your head be heavy. And pause here. On an inhale, bring your head back up to center. On an exhale, lower your right ear towards your right shoulder, consciously leaving your left shoulder level. Don't let it follow your left ear. Stretching into the left side of your neck. Keep breathing, don't hold it. Inhale, bring your head back up to center. On an exhale, lower your left ear towards the left shoulder. Again, paying attention to that right shoulder, don't let it follow. Now, as we go through all of this, it can be uncomfortable. Let it be uncomfortable. Just don't let it hurt. Inhale, bring it up to center. As we do this all as well, you should not get dizzy. If you're dizzy, back off. If it hurts, come out of the pose a little bit. Maybe you've gone too deep into it for your body. Everybody's body is different. Again, lower your right ear towards your right shoulder. And now slowly roll your head forward, bringing your chin towards your chest. And then roll your left ear towards the left shoulder. Pause. Now roll your chin forward. And then rolling back right ear towards the right shoulder. Pause. Now, depending on whether you have any sensitivities in your neck, you're either going to go forward, or if you're okay with it, roll your head back and around. Either way, we're meeting with left ear towards the left shoulder. Now forward, and then right ear to right shoulder. And either back or forward, bringing left ear to left shoulder. Chin to center, and slowly bring your head back up to center. Okay, now gaze is straight ahead. Imagine your nose is pointed directly at the center of a clock face. Lift your chin up a little as if to look at the 12 o'clock. Turn your head to the right as if to look at the 2. Nose is looking, because your nose has eyes in yoga. Pretend to use your nose to draw little circles in the air with your nose. You're getting a little bit of movement going where your neck and the base of your skull meet. And then switch the direction of those circles. Come back to center. Bring your head back level. Turn your head straight ahead, back to the center of the clock face. Turn your head to the left and then up to 10 o'clock. Same thing, nose circles in the air. And then switch the direction. And head back to center. And that's it for that. Now, interlace your fingers together. Press your palms away from your chest. So your arms are straight out in front of you. You're pressing your palms towards the front of the room, stretching into your hands. Sit up tall. Make sure the shoulders didn't go into your ears. Especially after you spend a lot of time on the computer, it's good to stretch those fingers out. Or if you're spending a lot of time working with Braille, give those fingers a little break. Now, on your next exhale, lift your arms, float them up to the ceiling. So they're pressing toward your fingers, palms are pressing towards the ceiling, away from the crown of your head. Again, notice, did those shoulders go up into your ears? Slide them back down. And then release your hands, floating your hands back down by your sides. Okay. With this group, we'll still stay sitting here. You're going to hug your right knee in towards your chest. So you can interlace your fingers at the back of your right thigh, or you can wrap your hands around your right shin. Hugging that knee in towards the chest, but continuing to sit up tall. Continuing to take note that those shoulders stay out of the ears. Now, with that knee in towards the chest, start to rotate that right ankle. And switch the direction of the rotation. Come back to center. And release that right knee back down to the floor, right foot to the floor. You know what comes next? It's the left leg. So hug the left knee into the chest And maybe one of them you're holding on to the shin and the other one you hold on to the thigh. That's okay. Each leg is a little bit different. We are not symmetrical. Sitting up tall, rotate that left ankle. And switch the rotation. And come back to center. Release that left foot back down to the floor. Let's come to a twist. So cross your right leg over your left, as if you're sitting in a chair with a pencil skirt on. Gentlemen, welcome to the pencil skirt world. Sitting up tall, take your right hand and place it flat on the chair right behind your right hip so that your fingertips face away from you. Your right arm is straight down from the shoulder. Take your left hand, place it on the outside of the right knee. Sitting up tall, inhale, getting length from crown to tail. And as you exhale, twisting at the waist, turn to look over your right shoulder. And pause here. Inhale again, getting length from crown to tail as you inhale. And as you exhale, see if you can twist just a fraction of an inch, a little bit deeper to the right. Pausing here. Inhale again. Exhale one more time, twisting. And on your inhale, slowly start to unwind. Come back to center. Take your right leg off your left and let's switch. So cross the left knee over the right. Still got that pencil skirt going. Left hand plants on the chair behind the left hip. Palm down, fingertips away from you. Right hand goes on the outside of the left knee. Now sit up as tall as you can, growing your spine from crown to tail. Inhale. And as you exhale, twisting at the waist, turn to look over your left shoulder. Long, slow exhale, just like at the beginning. Inhale again. Exhale and maybe twist a little bit more. Inhale one more time. Exhale, still holding it. Inhale and slowly unwind, coming back to center. All right, let us go. We're going to do, it's chair yoga, but we're going to do some stuff standing up too. So get up off your chair, please. I invite you to. And come to standing in front of your chair. Place your palms flat on, hold on to the sides of the chair, of the seat. So on the base where you would put your bottom, wrap your fingertips around the sides, maybe towards the back of the chair. So you are now standing in front of the chair, legs are straight, you have a flat back. All right, so I could put a cup of tea on your back and it's not spilling. We're gonna do cat-cow standing. So inhale, lower the belly, lift your tailbone, lift your head so that your gaze goes up towards maybe where the ceiling and the wall meet, bringing your crown towards your tail. There's a cow. On an exhale, curl your tailbone under, round your spine. Press your shoulders away from the chair. Drop your head so that it's totally out of the pose. So you're looking back towards your legs. You're an angry cat. Inhale, lower the belly, lift the tailbone, gaze up, crown to tail, cow. Exhale, lead with the tailbone, curl the tailbone under, round the spine, drop your head, cat. Inhale, lower the belly, lift the tailbone for cow. Exhale, curl the tailbone under, round the spine for cat. And come back to neutral spine. So you're back to your flat back, no wrinkles in the back of your neck. Your nose is parallel with the chair. And that cup of tea can go right in between those shoulder blades and it's not going anywhere. Let me tell you about what you just did. So you just pumped the synomial fluid in between those vertebrae in your spine, getting movement going in that spine. Keep doing that and you won't be stiff in the morning. Now, from here, you got your flat back. You're going to come to a down dog using the chair. So walk your feet back until your arms are absolutely straight. Lifting, you're going to be lowering your head towards the chair and your tailbone towards the sky. So sit bones toward the sky. Take a slight bend in your knees. Rest your torso even on your thighs. So you're balancing more on the balls of your feet, not flat on your heels. Take your head out of the pose. So shake your head no, nod your head yes. Pausing here, you're going to feel a stretch down the sides of your arms, the sides of your body towards your hips. This is your down dog using a chair. It takes the normally down dog on the floor is pretty hard on your wrists. This is not so bad. Now you're going to walk your dog. So press your right heel towards the floor, bending your left knee deeply. Feeling a bit more stretch in the back of the right leg. And then switch. Press the left heel towards the floor, bending the right knee. And then toggle back and forth. Inhale, coming up on all 10 toes. Exhale, press both heels towards the ground. And then take teeny tiny baby steps, walking back towards your chair. All right. And come up to standing. We're having fun yet? Yep. Turn around and let's come back to your chair. Now, standing up tall, you can either do this standing or sitting, yogi's choice. But we're going to, if you're standing, you're just standing in front of your chair, not facing your chair. If you're sitting on your chair like we started, feet flat on the floor, back away from the chair. Both up tall. Your feet should be hip distance apart. Hip distance equals 2 fists. I know some of us think our hips are wider than that, but we're talking about the bones and not the flesh. Arms down by your side. Inhale, lift your shoulders up to the ears. As you exhale, roll your shoulders back and down all the way. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, shoulders back and down. This time, inhale, lift your arms out to a T, bringing them up to the sky, bringing your palms together up overhead. Take your gaze up towards your hands. I say gaze, but eyes can still be closed. As you exhale, bring the hands down through the center of your face and let your thumbs rest in prayer at your heart. Inhale, open those arms up wide, lift your arms up to the sky for upward salute. Palms come together. Exhale, bring those palms to your heart center. Inhale, reach and gather up again. Exhale, hands together in prayer at your heart. Let's build. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bring your hands together at prayer at your heart, and then hinge at the hips, forward fold, bringing your hands towards your feet. Either way, you're coming into where you're basically touching your toes. Let your crown of your head be heavy. So the crown of your head should align with the floor.
It's okay to have the knees bent. It's okay to rest the torso on the thighs. If you're sitting, of course, your knees are bent, and of course, your torso is resting on your thighs. From here, we're going to come to halfway lift or monkey. Start with that. So halfway lift or monkey, as it's called, you're going to bring your palms to your shins or your knees. This brings you to a flat back so that your back is parallel with the earth. So you're straight from crown to tail, parallel with the earth. On the exhale, slide your hands back down towards your feet. The crown of your head now aligns with the earth. If you're standing, you're going to slightly bend your knees. If you're seated, of course, they're seated. Inhale, and you're going to rise back up, sitting upright or standing upright. Reach your arms back up to the sky. Exhale, hands together in prayer at your heart. Okay, let's try that one more time. Now that we've had the description, let's try it again without quite so much talk. So starting again from neutral, feet are hip distance, 2 fists, arms down by your sides. Inhale, reach those arms up to the sky. Exhale as palms come together, floating through to your chest. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands together in prayer. Hinge at the hips, forward fold, hands down to the feet. Coming into your forward fold, slightly bend those knees. Inhale, halfway lift or monkey. Your palms come to your shins or your knees. Flat back, cup of tea is coming in. Exhale, forward fold, hands to the floor, crown aligns with the floor. Slightly bend those knees if you're standing. Inhale, rise all the way back up to standing. There we go. That's round 1. All right. Shake it out. Shake it out. All right. If you have chosen to sit, I invite you to come back to standing. Let's play some balance games. I want to play the tree game. So come to the side of your chair, or if you have other furniture nearby, you pick your furniture of your choice. The purpose here for the furniture is to give you something to hold on to so you don't fall over, because you're going to be a tree blowing in the wind. So you're going to make that right leg your tree trunk. So ground down through that right leg, making that right leg do most of the work as you're standing. So activate all those muscles in that right leg. Take your left foot and prop your left heel on the inside of your right calf, just above the big bone at your ankle. So you're using your left foot as a kickstand. So the toes on the left are on the floor. Your heel is against your shin, your calf. And your left knee is pointing to the left side wall, and your right knee is pointing forward. There's the foundation for your tree. From here, you may not need anything to hold on to at this point. You can either hold on to the chair, or you can bring your hands together in prayer at your heart, thumb at your chest. Okay, that could be your tree. Alternatively, you can grow some branches. So you can take 1 or 2 arms up to the sky like a V for victory. Again, this could be your tree. While you're here, be conscious, shoulders stay out of the ears all the time. Crown stacks over top of your tailbone. So you've got great posture going here, right? All right. You can play now. You could lift that left foot up and plant that left foot on the inside of the right shin. So plant it in between the ankle and the knee. So no more kickstand. It's okay to wobble in the wind. You could take that left foot and plant it on the inside of the right thigh.
Left knee still points to the left side wall. And it's okay to touch down and then come back up. It's okay to wobble in the wind. Trees always move in the wind. You must have a lot of wind in your room right now. Keep breathing. Don't hold your breath. Keep the shoulders out of the ears. And release that left foot back down to the ground. Let's come to the other side. So you're going to be on the right side of the chair, holding onto the chair with your left hand. This time you're going to ground down through the left leg, making it strong, doing all the work. That's your tree trunk. Take your right foot, plant the right heel on the inside of the left shin or left calf, just above that big bone. Right knee points to the right side wall. Right toes are on the floor, making your kickstand. Hands together in prayer at your heart, or you have one hand holding onto the chair. From here, choose to grow one or two branches, reaching up to the sky in a victory V. And keep breathing. And from here, perhaps play with it. Plant that right foot on the inside of the left calf or the inside of the left thigh. And one side might be a little different than the other. You might be a bit stronger, a bit more stable. You'll learn a little bit about yourself when you do this. And release your right foot down to the floor. Shake it up. Okay, let's come back to the chair. I want to do at least a warrior one. Actually, chair or standing, your choice. If you're on the chair, you're going to turn to the left so that the left leg, your knees are pointing to the left side of the room, right? Your left leg is, your left side of your butt is on the chair and probably the top of your left thigh, but then after that, it's not on the chair anymore. Left knee is bent, sitting up tall. You're going to step the right leg back, straight leg, stepping it back so you're in a lunge position, using the chair to support you. So the toes on the right are on the floor. The heel is off the floor. You're going to feel an opening in the front right hip. If you're standing, stand up tall, both feet hip distance apart. Step your right foot back, bend the left knee. So the right foot, you're on the balls of the toes, just like you would be on the chair. Both ways, the left knee is bent. Left knee stacks directly over top of the left ankle. Don't let your knee go past your toes. You want to protect your joints. So here you go. Here's your lunge. You're opening up into that right hip. Now, for a full warrior one, you're actually going to turn the right foot to point at 2 o'clock. So if your left foot is pointing at 12 o'clock, turn the right foot to more like 2 o'clock. If you're standing, this will be more obvious. You're going to place most of the weight on the outside of the right foot. When you're on the chair, not so much. Now, the rest of Warrior One involves arms. So you can lift your arms up to the sky, palms face each other, not touching, so your arms are straight up and down from your shoulders. Shoulders out of your ears. If your shoulders are grumpy, bring your hands together in prayer at your heart. There's your Warrior One. Bend deeper into that front knee and maybe open more into that back right hip. All right, and come on out of it. Let's do the other side. So if you're on the chair, you're going to face the other direction. So you're going to turn to the right, and your right knee is the bent knee, left leg reaches back. If you're standing, Right knee is the forward knee. This time, step back with the left leg. Bend into that right knee. Knee stacks over top of ankle. Turn the toes on the left more to 10 o'clock. Opening into that left hip. Arms reach up to the sky or palms together in prayer. Yogi's choice. And breathe. Take note of your shoulders. What did they do? Did they want to follow? Bring them back down. And breathe. Keep breathing. No breathing, no yoga. And come back to center. Okay. Let's come back to our chair. If you chose to get off the chair. So again, come back to sitting up tall. Feet are flat on the floor, knees over top of ankles. You're seeing a theme here. Lift both hands up to the sky. Bend your right elbow, reaching your right hand to give yourself a pat on the back in between your shoulder blades. Take your left hand and place it on top of your right elbow and gently guide your right hand down your back, maybe another half an inch or so. Sitting up tall, keep your head still up. So don't bend your neck forward. Keep that same alignment from crown to tail. Keep breathing. This is called cow face. Yeah, okay. The other way to do cow face is to release that take that left hand off your right elbow, and you would take your left hand behind you and grab onto your fingers. Fingers can interlace in between your shoulder blades, and then pull down. So cow face, I think it's because this way your elbows are actually supposed to look like cow ears. Don't feel bad if you can't reach. It's okay. All right, release your hands. Shake them out. Shake your arms out. All right, this time lift your left arm up to the sky. Lift your right arm up to the sky. Bend your left elbow, reaching that left hand down in between your shoulder blades. Right hand on top of the left elbow, giving it a little gentle guidance down. You can take the other way if you really want to, but you don't have to. This does it too. Keep that head up. And keep breathing. And release that left hand and right hand, bringing it back down. Let's come to a figure 4 stretch. So you're going to take your right foot and place your right ankle on top of your left thigh so that your right leg is forming part of a 4. So your right knee is bent and your right knee is pointing to the right side wall. Your right foot is flexed, and that will protect your right knee. So keep that right foot flexed. So we went from pencil skirts to now we're sitting like a guy might choose to sit. So we are a gender equal class here. All right, sitting up tall. Now fold forward over top of that leg. Can you let your torso go on top of that leg? You're going to notice a little bit of pressure on the outside of the right hip. Pause there. If you are not going forward with your torso says, I'm sitting upright. Just take that right hand and put it on the inside of the right thigh. Just apply a little bit of pressure. You're going to get the same thing. Your right hip is going to say, I'm awake. I hear you. It's going to give you a little bit of opening in that hip. So either folding forward or just that pressure with your hand. Being mindful to keep that right foot flexed. And it's okay if it gets uncomfortable. It It's all okay. If you can't breathe, back off a little. If it's too easy, go a little deeper. And bring that right foot back to the ground. Let's switch. Left ankle on top of right thigh. Left knee points to the left side wall. Left foot is flexed. Start by placing a little bit of pressure on the inner left thigh with your left hand. And maybe that's enough. Your choice. Just pause here. Notice what you're feeling. Notice if it's any different than the other side. Now, if you want any more, if you can still breathe, fold over that leg. If you can't breathe when you fold, come out of it. And keep going. Release that left foot to the ground. Bring yourself back up to center. We're going to come to Savasana. So you're going to get comfortable. So sit in your chair, perhaps bringing your back against the chair. Let go of you don't have to keep your feet flat on the ground now. You can extend your legs in front of you with your feet on the floor. Bring your palms onto your lap with your hands, your palms up. Close your eyes. Soften your jaw. Take a big, deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, stick out your tongue, and sigh it all out for a lion's breath. Inhale one more time. Big, deep breath in through the nose. Open your mouth, stick out your tongue, and sigh it all out. Close your mouth and rest your tongue on the roof of your mouth, letting the tip of your tongue rest right where your gums and your teeth meet in the front. Keep those eyes closed. Think about softening your jaw, softening your face. No wrinkles. Just let it all be restful. Now you've come to your Shavasana. And Shavasana is typically where you would sit in silence, perhaps with music in the background, just letting thoughts flow through your mind. I have a little story for Shavasana. And the story is how to catch a monkey. You got a sneaky little monkey. And in order to catch him, you get a box and fill it up with peanuts. And then you wrap the box up and cut a hole in it, just big enough for the monkey's hand to fit through. So the monkey comes along and he sticks his hand in and he grabs a fistful of peanuts, but he can't get his hand out because the hole isn't big enough once he's got the peanuts in it. And so what is the moral of the story? Because you've caught your monkey. The moral of the story is not, don't be greedy. The moral of the story is to let go of that which does not serve you. Wiggle your fingers and toes and bring some awareness back into your body. Inhale and reach your arms long overhead for a big good morning stretch. And as you exhale, bring your hands back down to your lap and bring yourself back up to a seated position, sitting up away from the back of the chair, feet planted on the floor, Knees over top of ankles. Hands, bring them together in prayer at your heart. So your thumbs are at your heart, your palms are together in prayer. And take a gentle bow of your head towards your hands. Take a moment of gratitude for all the goodness in our lives and all that our bodies do for us. Bring your thumbs to the third eye center, which is that spot in between your eyebrows. That's where the yogis say all of the wisdom is. That's where you see everything. And now we end a yoga practice with Namaste, but Namaste really means the light in me honors and sees the light in you as the light in you honors and sees the light in me. Together we are one, and humbly we say, Namaste, yogis.